Yo, what's up, guys? I know it's been a very long time since I've made a YouTube video, so I kind of basically just got a bit bored of making YouTube videos, and I got busy with school and that type of stuff. So I've just been streaming every day on Twitch still, but not really making as many YouTube videos. And I plan to make every once in a while make a YouTube video or two, but still not make them super frequently. I will make one on getting Sovereign, since I think that's pretty cool that I ended up getting to Sovereign, so I'll make a video about that soon, so you can expect that. But for now, we have a video of coaching a Diana player, they're a Platinum player. It's very long, like an hour and a half long. I feel like there's a lot of good information that you guys could get from this, and also I wanted to upload it so that the person I coached could see it and watch back the VOD. So just so you guys know, again, like I'll be uploading when I can, but won't be uploading super frequently. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you're interested in coaching, $15 an hour, just DM me in my Discord server. You can join it through the link in the description. And then I have a coaching inquiries Discord channel that you can ping me in, or you can just DM me directly. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So we can start by talking about the build before we talk in the game. I don't know what you typically build. But
I have a couple things I've been trying out, and I could use some advice in that regards. But
yeah,
I think this build specifically, I did like a squishy build because I was like, Tristana Lulu, I need to be able, like, my only thought was like, I need to be able to execute that Tristana or that Lulu very fast. So I think I
yeah.
ran a let's you. Sorry. And I decided to go like Ludens, um, kind of more like a one-shot build here with
Yeah, that makes sense for this game, yeah. That's
running
fun.
precision ruins right now. So I think I did like a triumph. Um, I
Are
don't even
you...
remember the
yeah, I mean,
ruin.
I would typically go Domination. Like, sudden impact is a lot better because of the dash, and then
I know I've
Mark of
been
the
running
Week.
that as my extra one, but I see what you're saying, and I've been a little bit back and forth. Let me see really quick exactly which runes I'm running.
Yeah. For the extra one, I'd probably say Perseverance is better, because you don't really have any tenacity otherwise. Unless, obviously, they have no CC, but most of the time they will.
Does Perseverance give you magic and armor resistance?
You're cutting out a little bit. What'd you say?
Um, Resistances for a short time too.
Yeah, if you get CC'd, it does.
I see.
Gonna try to turn you up as well. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just loading game real quick just to check the runes I've been
Yeah,
running.
you're good.
Another thing too was I was running precision so I could have the option. And I think I've always just been a little scared of like
You cut out again. You keep like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to hear you because you're cutting out in the middle of talking.
Okay, sorry. So in that game I ran coup de grace and alacrity with sudden impact.
Yeah.
But the one thing I'll say about running the domination that I've been a little worried about is I have an anti-tank build I think I ran in the next game that I like to have the option of going Gathering Storm and Giant Slayer to sort of have.
I mean, that's
That was
fine. Like, if you
nice.
prefer precision, it works fine enough with Diana. That's not, there's no problem with that. Like, you can go that into tanks if you want to go Giant Slayer. Otherwise, you can just take Giant Slayer as your extra. Gathering Storm's not really that much value. Like, the AP you're getting compared to what you just get from the domination trees, like ward killing one, like zombie ward. They're also buffing it, but just you're gonna be using sweeper a ton anyways, so you're gonna get less AP, but a pretty similar amount from that, and then you get better other runes, and then if you can just go Giant Slayer instead of Perseverance. But otherwise, like, if you go Precision, that's not really a big deal. That still works fine. So if you prefer that, that'll work fine too.
What do you say, Mark of the Week? Is that the
Yeah,
second
sudden
one?
impact, Mark of the Week, and then Zombie Ward, and
And
then
then
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
And then you can
What is
switch
there
that to
like
Giant Slayer
another?
if you need.
I see that. Okay, yeah, for circumstance.
I mean, you could even switch that to coup de grace if they don't have like CC, or if you just want to like really play to one shot. Like in this game, you could go coup de grace instead of going Perseverance because you're more trying to one shot people than like avoid dying from CC or anything.
Yeah, they only have Lulu and then the knockup from Wukong. Plus I'm
Yeah, so
slow, I guess.
yeah, so there's not much, so like you don't have to be that worried about that. I mean, as an assassin, you're usually waiting for those abilities anyways before they come out. But so yeah, your build, you said Ludens, that's fine. I kind of prefer Infinity Orb if I'm going for one shot, and I don't really go Ludens. Because
I
on
see that,
Diana,
like for starting.
yeah, you don't need the mana on Diana, which is the only like extra value from Ludens. You're just losing out on damage. Infinity Orb is going to be more damage overall. So probably better to go for Infinity Orb, but Ludens is fine, and it's getting buffed as well, I think. So either way, that's fine if you go that and then go Death Cap like third item. And we can talk more through the
Okay, that
build, and I
makes.
can write it out to you later. But
Well, it makes sense because I think I saw a Darkbreaker saying something about Ludens being nice for wave clear, but that's probably more for like a roaming mid Diana where
yeah,
you
mid
want to
lane
be able to
Diana is gonna
cover
prefer
wave.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
because you always have a blue buff, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You are on the mirrored side of the map. The lanes.
Okay, I muted that.
Yeah, that's
So,
fine.
yeah, you can also go like I like going Nashers in jungle, but into tankier comps, especially going Nashers first instead of this. But we can
And
talk
that's what
about
I've been doing
more.
secondarily, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And then that's like the
I
time you're going
also have
Conqueror. Basically, it's when you go Electrocute, you go this build, and then when you're going Conqueror is when you're going Nashor's Tooth. So
So I've been doing that red ward because I see streamers do it, and I know that Wukong, he could be aggressive early game. He might want to invade, but the one thing I will say is that it's like, despite putting that ward, I don't think I completely understand how to use that. Like, even if I saw him invading, say right now, it's like I'm not gonna just go across the map.
okay,
It's I guess I would know so I can invade him basically.
so what we have to understand is the goal of our champions first of all. So like Diana, I assume you know, is purely just power farming and getting to however like late in the game you can with a huge gold lead. We don't care about our teammates, we only care about ourselves for the most part. Obviously some games are different. So the reason we're doing it for most junglers, but especially like a full clearing jungler, is you want to start on your Krugs, which means you're very far away. So if you get the information that your buff gets invaded early on, you know you can go and take his buff potentially. So even if you don't actually go and stop it, you can counter invade his jungle because you know he's not going to be there. Anytime you're able to reveal the enemy jungler, it's good. And it would take too long to go like use a yellow ward on their jungle or something because one, you're not going to invade, and two, you're wasting time, and then your clear would be slower. So that's why you're doing it. But the other thing is you don't always need to put it on your blue. If you decide that you want to end up by level 5 on bot side because you want to gank the bot lane because you think there's going to be a potential for a kill, like in this game against a ranged top laner, that's the time where you should be pathing towards this lane. So what you should have done is you actually go and ward, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but you see this bush.
Yeah,
So
exactly that bush.
you ward this bush with your control ward, and then you start on Gromp or blue buff, doesn't really matter. And then you clear this side and then go red side so that you're by level 5 you're able to gank Dilution because that's where you want to gank. So regardless of which we want a full clear on Diana because we want gold. So the only switch with your pathing is you either start Krugs or you start blue side if you want to end up on the opposite side based on where you want to gank. So
if I want a full clear, blue side is starting Gromp, the preferred.
I don't know, honestly. Like I don't think it should matter because they're both single target. So I'd assume I would just start blue, honestly. But like either, it wouldn't really matter. I think blue would give you level 2 faster, so I would do that.
Smited that camp. Is that right? Like, because I noticed if I don't smite first, like you'll have 2 smites by the time you get to your red, and that just makes me think that you're stacking. You're not getting to your blue smite fast enough.
Smite
so it's like smite that first camp.
Also, there's a small thing, and with Diana, like it is important to just clear super efficiently because that's kind of again our goal early on. So like even here, you see how you walked away and then you're using your Q. What you should be doing is you should auto first, like you should stand directly on top of them, auto attack it, and then Q. It's just slightly faster. It's not a big thing, but having a more efficient clear in Diana is kind of effective. And then I honestly haven't tested this, but my friend who plays a lot of Diana jungle told me that W second is faster, so maybe I'll test that later to really figure it out, but apparently it's faster to go W second, so I'm not sure if that's true, but something...
that makes sense.
Yeah, to look
at.
at.
You also, I guess, with the shield, you get to keep more health for like an early gank.
Yeah.
Like it won't,
And here's the first huge issue already, like with your game, the fact that you're wasting time here. Again, we need to understand the goal of our champion, like when we're doing stuff like this. You almost never should ever gank level 2 on Diana unless there's like a completely free kill. But when we look at the information we have here, the misfortune is we have to flash if we want to get to her right away. Otherwise, we don't have,
a little low though. I thought maybe that's what got me.
Yeah, so she's low, but even if you get her
Yeah.
flash, that's not worth it because you're wasting
You're
time. Again,
okay.
like we're valuing our own time more than the enemy. Like all that matters is our own gold. So wasting time here and not being efficient is going to screw us over because we're not going to probably get to our first item if we're doing this before first dragon or herald, and then we're going to be less useful there, and we're just wasting a ton of time. Not to mention, now that you did this, you can't get the scuttle when it spawns, because what we'd want to do is probably after we go raptors, we go scuttle after, and then we maybe either recall or we just go clear our blue side now, because you're not going to get level 5 off clearing your first 6 camps if you don't also get the scuttle. So you want to try to secure at least one scuttle, but since you're not there on the proper timing, if the enemy jungle goes on bot scuttle, you're not really going to have time for that. Another thing
they
here,
waste even more time.
so you shouldn't be ganking here, but if we are ganking, I do think you don't have to, but it'd be nice to practice Q flashing, which is pretty hard in Diana. But if you did this, if you Q right now and then you flash, you would hit her with Moonlight, meaning you could dash to her twice and you would kill her anyways here. So if I'm doing this gank, I would be killing because I would be able to get my Q and flash off, get the Moonlight reset and kill her. So you could actually kill her here. But another thing, which is, now that if you're looking at this again, based on the time you wasted on your first gank, we didn't actually, I don't know what's showing up on the top of that screen there, but based on the time you wasted on your first gank, had you, instead of wasting that time, cleared this, you would have level 3. And if you had level 3 and then you went for the same gank that we see you go for here, if you played it better, you'd have more damage and you would kill her. But even if you played it perfectly here, you probably wouldn't kill because you're only level 2. So
I could have basically cleared my camps and then used my going to the other camps as an
because
opportunity.
again, what did we want to do? We wanted to go bot scuttle. And bot scuttle is really close to mid anyway, so we could have ganked mid right before going to bot scuttle because that's leading us basically towards our next camp. So yeah, you seem to understand. It's just we want to clear and then go, like we want to clear towards a lane and then we gank that lane after we've cleared, not before we've cleared, because then we're lower level and the ganks aren't going to work as much anyways, and we're wasting time because just like you said with wasting your smite, if you're leaving the camps up for longer, they respawn later, and so it's a compounding effect where if the enemy jungle is perma-farming, you're just going further and further behind, and even if your ganks work out, if they get 2 camps, that's equal to a gank working. So like even if you waste the equivalent time of clearing a camp on a kill, it's still not that worth it in the long run. So
and I may be imagining that it's like, okay, Wukong here. I'm trying to be somewhat stronger or as strong for Dragon. That's sort of the goal in this initial thing that
the whole thing
I would
just,
even
again,
be like considering.
So you said you're playing Wukong Diana, and I hope that you stick to these champs or you find champs you want to stick to, but we should really understand like only a few champs. Playing too many is going to make it hard to climb. So
Very much.
with every champ I play, I'm just asking myself what my champ wants to do. Again, everything that you do, if it's in the context of what your champ's goal is, like that's how you can actually understand how to play your champ properly and win games. So yes, Diana, your whole thing is just farming and being stronger for later parts in the game, so you're not trying to do all this aggressive stuff early. If you're playing Wukong, you still don't want to gank quite this much, but looking for more early fights on Wukong makes way more sense than on Diana. Now, the misfortune is bad, so it ended up working here, but this shouldn't have worked, even though we end up getting a kill. So
No, you're right, yeah.
But again, you can see even here, Wukong's level 5 and you're level 4, even though you have a kill and he has none, because he's farming better, and now this means that at the scuttle fight, the Wukong has a huge power spike and you're pretty much useless, so.
And if he plays it better and someone else rotates...
Yeah, like you should have died and you shouldn't have any kills, but yeah, he's kind of not great. But it still looks like he's going to get a kill in the end, so. And yeah, so I mean, even like again, the higher level now, the Wukong's just way ahead. He can invade you if he's smart here. What he should be doing is taking your Gromp as well, so you should be even further behind than you are.
I see. So, and I think, so that's something starting with jungle that I have really struggled with, is being just like good at farming and just like strict, I guess, or disciplined in the early game.
No, I like, again, I was hard stuck when I first was learning jungle in Diamond for like forever, even being a challenger level player, because I didn't realize this. I was wasting so much time. Like, I understand the feeling of wanting to help all your teammates and do that, but I kind of recommend you playing like 10 to 15 games of just straight up never giving in to any of those impulses, and then slowly leaning back towards like finding a balance, because sometimes you do need to waste your time to help your teammates out, but I want you to first like not give into those impulses for just like 10-15 games straight and really like see the difference in how much extra gold you're getting from just perma farming and only ever ganking when your entire side of the map is cleared or like you have nothing else to do, rather than going for these plays. And then slowly, as you get to understand the game better and get better, and the higher rank you go, the more beneficial it is to not waste time. Like again, here even, you should be on Gromp, but instead you're going here. Now you have to go up here, gank, probably lose flash, maybe lose ult, probably not kill because we're ganking Tristana Lulu. That's not going to work anyways, and they're under tower. And now you go back here. Now you're going to go back to Gromp. We're just so much time wasted. Like if you watch any good jungle streamer, when your whole bot side right now is up. Early game, watch them play after their initial clear. It's very rare that you'll see an entire side of their map ever up until a dragon is spawning. Like they pretty much the entire time, all those camps will be cleared, or at least a couple of them before they're ending up going for more ganks. Again, if they're playing like a Jarvan, it's different. But if we're playing Diana, we're playing Evelyn, any power farming champ, that's how it's gonna go. So.
See, but what you might watch is you might watch a gameplay where they get kind of fed early, and therefore they kind of change
they ignore that. Yes, like they understand the differences and the nuances of the game to forego farming when they see enemy laner has no flash, the wave state is in a certain spot, and all of those things. But yeah, you're whenever you watch any YouTuber's gameplay, you're gonna watch their best games, and obviously you're gonna pop off harder if you get 3 kills early game. So you're only gonna see them playing suboptimally, but you don't understand why they're doing it. Whereas there's probably a reasoning to it. So I think we're understanding early game a bit better in terms of farming so far. But this is now the next like important thing is understanding the value in the play you make, regardless of, like, even if you got a kill here, this is a bad play. No matter what, if you kill him right away, because you're wasting your flash regardless. You're going to lose your flash, you're going to lose all your abilities, and an objective is spawning. Not only that, but we're also sitting on gold. So you have probably like 2,800 gold this game, which is extremely low. But not only that, you've only spent 1,600, or I don't know the exact number, but you're sitting on 1,200. So you could be way stronger than you are for the dragon fight. You're losing your flash right before the dragon/herald fight. You don't have ultimate because we also wasted that at a suboptimal time. So you have nothing. You're completely useless at this fight, and you're under-leveled and you're under-farmed. So yeah, we're just like, you shouldn't be wasting so many spells and so many things before objectives. You got to kind of realize you need to save them and be aware of the objective timers. But yeah. So now we're probably just going to lose dragon for free. If they come herald, you just die as well because you have nothing. And by the way, I hope that it's not like I'm just pointing out your mistakes.
No,
so you're aware of all of
I'm
them.
listening.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking, like, I can think, like, for example, like, when I was first starting out, I found myself not ganking enough, it almost seemed like, and I wasn't attacking me. So that's what was, like, almost making me go the other direction in this biased way. Which obviously
we can find the balance, and again, it depends on the champ. But like I think I can teach you as well, like what to actually look for in a gank, and if we look for these specific things, then you'll understand when to gank. Another weird thing, like this doesn't make any sense either. One, again, starting this, Delusion should have just straight up killed you here. I don't know why he didn't kill you. He could just kill you. Like you shouldn't even be alive. But since he didn't kill you because he doesn't understand how Diana works, when you're here, you smited before 2,000. I don't know why. Like,
I think because I was low health, and I was just like thinking that they're.
No, I understand. Like again, you're panicking, but you just need to try to be as a jungle. You need to be really calm with your smite too. Like obviously, sometimes you might have a smite for health, but whenever you're on these objectives, you just need to be actually thinking about what can kill you and what you need to combo and everything. If you're panicking like this, you're gonna mess up a ton of smites and kind of like lose a lot of games off it. You weren't that low health. Like nobody could just one shot you from that health. But you were just, kind of panicking, which it happens. And also, you could have dragged it out of the vision, but.
Tell me about, like, after a mistake. So that's something that I struggle with. So, like, in that moment, after Lucian attacks me inside the Rift Herald pit, and then he leaves, what do you think I should have done in that moment? You know what I mean? As a factor of just, like, because I was already recovering. Now it's time to recover from a mistake, right? Like, after
so you mean when Lucian's here and you
and this so okay, now I've made that mistake.
Yeah, you
Where
sit
am I
here
going now?
At this point. You're just like what I'm doing, because I'm assuming competence, which they're incompetent and they somehow leave you and you just get the Herald for free. I don't know why. If they were at all competent, what I would do is I'm dragging this away so that it resets, so that they maybe don't get it.
Ah,
So that the health resets, because then yeah, they might not be
they
able to
can't
clear
just
it. And then
take it.
I would recall, and then I would hopefully be back by the time I can get to Herald. But that's not really the mistake that's important to look at. Again, like the mistake
Okay.
is wasting everything here and getting low health and losing flash, so that we're
Yeah.
not prepared for an objective. And then if we're not prepared for an objective, then we can't even fight back. So they have all the agency. So that's the real mistake is here. And the other mistake is obviously all of the early game not farming. But yeah, at that point, I would have just dragged it out and then left. I don't know why they left you, but you got a free Herald, so that's nice. And sometimes it's okay to play around them being bad in lower elos. Like, if they're going to give you this Herald, then take it. Like, I don't
That
really
makes
mind you
sense.
sitting here and looking at it and just being like, well, I mean, I've played it. You've played enough in this elo. You know the players are going to do some dumb stuff. So it's okay to look for this because the game is not the same in high elo and low elo. So don't just do everything you watch a streamer do just cause. Like, try to actually think about why they do it. You might think like these players are like gods in higher elo, but they're not. They're normal people. They have basic reasoning behind most of the things we do. It's nothing like crazy complex. So you should be able to figure out a good amount of it just by watching. And we make dumb mistakes too, so you don't have to assume that everything we do is just a correct thing, you know?
I mean, like, it's crazy that I survived there. Like, I should
Yeah.
not have. There's no way I should have been.
I mean,
able
this
to
Lucian
survive
is just awful. Like, but yeah, we see how many camps we have up too. You have, I think your red got stolen, and you have all of your other camps up, or it's spawning now, I guess. Never mind. But yeah, like we have way too many camps up. I
hear
think just alone, if you just farmed and didn't do anything for the first dragon or herald, and you just like went to one dragon or herald and tried to get whatever they didn't get, and then you didn't even fight until second dragon or herald every single game, you'd probably win more games than you're currently winning, just because you'd have way more gold every game. Like, you're really, really far behind. And we're still fighting. This gold, we really need to think about the gold we're getting for a kill versus like what we're losing by farming, because every time you're wasting this time, not only is it not guaranteed, but that's just 2 camps worth of gold. He happened to be worth slightly more because he had like 2 kills already, but normally,
And also, I blue.
yeah. So again, you're understanding. I don't need to. I'm reiterating it a lot, but I
Right,
think you
though.
understand the whole efficiency thing.
So, like, knowing that versus like I'm in this moment, right? It's like I see him take my blue, right? And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I want to respond or something, right? It's like it's good to have some a voice that I can trust in this sense because it's just me making decisions in game.
Yeah.
It's like farming those camps right now is of the value. Like that gold right there, like of any of the decisions I can make, that one is one of the best decisions, and even more so. It's like I might not,
Yeah, I mean,
but
again, you seem to understand. So I just like the thing I want you to do more than learning a specific thing that I tell you right now. I just want you to ask questions when like you have a lot of time as jungle to think when you're farming or before the game starts, like as you're looking at the lanes and everything. You can ask yourself a lot of questions, and there's really basic things that you need to understand. Again, the first thing with Diana is the type of champion you are. Wukong is more of an early skirmishing fighter, or who really, like, your power spike is your first item when you get Divine Sunder. So for him, you're really trying to get to that first item so you can fight once you get on that item power spike and fight at the first dragon if you're able to get that power spike and force fights at Scuttle, maybe invade a little bit. But with Diana,
especially after the buff on his one, that's gonna be a crazy power spike.
But with Diana, our goal is just to farm. So if we understand that our whole goal is to farm and get to late game, every question you ask yourself is in that context. It's not in the context of what's going on in my top lane. Is he winning or losing? We don't really care about our laners that much, especially again in lower elo. It changes a bit, but not really that much as we get high. So you don't care about your laners. Like, think of them as NPCs. If they happen to do better, good, because even if you get a laner ahead in low elo, they will throw it if they're worse than their enemy. And if they're better than their enemy, they're going to get that lead anyways 95% of the time. Also, mute chat. Don't listen to chat. They will only lead you astray. But
you're right.
So yeah, the first thing, every question you need to answer in the context of what your champ wants to do. And then alongside that, our decisions only really change as a power farming champ when objectives are spawning. So since there's no objective spawning, the only thing you're worried about is gold for that objective. So right now, however you can get the most gold to yourself as a power farming champion, it's all you care about, which right now is your red buff. I mean, now it's killing this guy because he's kind of dumb. What the fuck was that?
I don't even know what that was.
But yeah, so here, I mean, getting the kill, again, that's why we like
I think it's a misclick.
yeah, that's why we like pathing towards a ranged top laner, though, because he's really easy to kill because they're squishy, obviously. But yeah, so now we're just farming again, focusing on the gold, and then you should be checking the objective timer pretty consistently. Like you should be clicking your scoreboard a lot more so you can know when an objective's going to spawn. And then when you're around a minute until an objective's going to spawn, that's when we're actually looking for whether it's blowing enemy flash before the objective or blowing their ultimate, or just getting vision around the objective, setting up for it, foregoing gold if we've already gotten to our item power spike, and instead just maybe camping the dragon for the next minute straight until it spawns, because why wouldn't we? We're not going to get stronger by getting an extra amplifying tome. That doesn't really help us. But apart from that, if we're not close to an objective spawning, we should just be farming instead of taking these 50-50 fights again like you did here.
Like, I was so not frustrated, but just a little bit like, damn, she killed me in that 1v1. So, and it's just because gold. She just beat me just on the basis of gold right there. Like, how much? She has like 7,000.
Why does she beat you? Well, we're already low health when we're starting this. She's not.
That's true.
I didn't really watch the fight, so I'm trying to. I think she exhausts you.
That's true,
okay, you're in burst assassin. Okay, first thing, again, just AP versus AD champions.
Yeah.
One has sustained damage, one has burst. Obviously, AP champs, their auto attacks don't deal damage. Tristana has consistent damage because she can auto attack permanently. So, if we can't one-shot a champion that's AD, we probably lose 95% of the time.
So the longer the fight against an ADC, the
because they're also stacking lethal tempo. If we have Conqueror, that's better for. But they're stacking lethal tempo. We have Electrocute. Your Electrocute, you use it once it's gone. Your ult, you use it once it's gone. Everything. So you have no abilities. Diana every third auto obviously does do a lot of magic damage, but not very much. You're only going to get one of those off, especially. And then she has exhaust. She started the fight higher health. So yeah, she's going to win this every time. Even if you're even gold with her, she'd probably still win it. But yes, if you were backing properly too, you're sitting on 3,100 gold. Like that is.
You're right there.
Really
like Ludens might be the difference in this fight. Like how much?
It probably would. You'd probably win with Ludens. But again, yeah, you're down like 1k gold in terms of the score, but you're actually down 4k gold. Because she had 2 items and boots, which is pretty much all of her 7k gold spent. You're only on like 4k gold. You're actually way further behind than it seems. So, and again, I would go Infinity Orb. I wouldn't worry about Ludens, but
okay. Another considering in this way is like maybe like and I don't think this is probably as viable for a jungle Diana, but like a Rod of Ages build for like a scaling like. Yeah. If you don't expect to win early, is that something that's like a kind of trolling for
Rod of Ages I like in mid like a decent amount when I'm into assassins because the extra health allows me to not die. Yeah, but in jungle it's not as necessary. Like I wouldn't recommend it. You could go it and it'd work fine. It's not like a troll build, but I do think that just going Nashers and stacking up Conqueror so that you have a bit of sustain there, and then going for like Riftmaker if you want a bit of sustain as well. Like if I'm going for a sustain build and I want that, I would go Nashor's Riftmaker and then Deathcap rather than going like a Rod of Ages. And you're going to scale insanely well even without Rod of Ages. The scaling on Rod is better, but it's not that much better, and it's gonna take a while to come online. So I wouldn't recommend it. In mid lane, yeah, into assassins, but not in jungle really ever. But it's not like troll. Again, also, when you hear a streamer say that something's troll, they probably mean that it's slightly worse than the best option. Like, it's not actually, they usually don't actually mean troll.
No, I hear you.
Right? It's not actually that bad. You could win pretty fine with it. But again, here, I think this is dragon. I'm pretty sure it's a dragon spawning, so we should be back getting our item and then just going there. Now we don't really care about farming.
I think I did do that well this time.
Yeah, this is a perfect time to be backing on. Right on an item power spike, about 10 seconds before the objective spawning. We're getting there. This is a great time to be there.
You wouldn't get your blue before. I mean, actually, no, someone took it. But anyway, like,
I mean, like, I might grab my blue if I don't expect to instantly be able to start it.
3 seconds, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so the reason I wouldn't do my blue here is because one person's dead, one person's bot, so I know we can just start it instantly and flip it.
Yeah.
But like, if it was a 5v5 and the enemy team had control, but they didn't start it, and like I wasn't worried about them taking it right away, I might grab my blue just as a little efficiency thing, but I don't care either way. It doesn't really matter to me if I get it or not. It's just like maybe I'll grab it. And then here you should drag this out as well. When they could seal it really easily by just jumping over the wall. Now,
Okay.
okay, maybe not because they have the vision thing, but I would still drag it out
That's what I was
instead.
thinking a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, like I can understand not wanting to do it because of the vision, but I would still drag it out in the
But
end.
they know I'm on dragon. Like,
Yeah,
it's not a
they're
mystery.
yeah they'll know. So,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
you need to
It'd
be
been more
you
valuable.
need to make sure you're trying to get a proper combo. So if you can, this isn't you can't always do this, but if it's possible,
Uh-huh.
get your third auto up and then Q, W, auto, E, smite. Like if you can get everything optimally, that's good. And try to just
For
get a
sure,
feeling
yeah.
for what amount of burst you can do. Like I'm guessing if you Q right now and then you smite, you probably kill it. I don't know the damage, but you're not comboing. That combo. You should use your ability and then smite rather than your smite than your ability.
Okay, yeah. So tell me. So okay, this is something I've always been confused about, right? It's like when we're talking about a jungler that has like a really good smiting.
Yeah.
So how does that work mathematically, right? So it's like as damage is being applied to the objective, it's like say I just ult and then smite right after. It's like is
Yeah.
it that big chunk of damage is just going over? Like even if some homie's just auto attacking, it's like how is it going to time everything out right there for me to ensure that you know what I'm saying?
So what I do with my main junglers, I haven't done this because I haven't played jungle in a while. But what I did when I played Xin Zhao and Camille, I went into practice tool. I put myself on one item and the amount of levels I thought I would be at one item, two, 3, 4, whatever. And I literally just did my best combo with it and figured out the damage number. You don't have to figure out the number, but if you have a rough estimate and then you like lowball it, so say you think it's 1100, then whenever you see it at 1k or lower, you do your ability plus your smite and it'll outsmite anyone. It's like it depends on the frame for what, like if it goes to 700 because you Q it, right? And then someone uses an ability that does 500. If you smite it, even if you smite after them, you're gonna be the one killing it because you're at 800. So unless they are able to do 800 amounts of damage to it, they're not gonna get it because you have a way higher like obviously your smite.
It makes me wonder, right? So it's like when someone gets caught out and 3 teammates are attacking them, right? It's like in the last second, the person who did the most damage is the one who probably ends up being awarded the kill, basically. Like even if all the damage is simultaneous, it's the biggest chunk that was the last burst of damage, basically. You know what I'm saying? How do they associate?
Well, that's how it would work, of course, yeah. Because if it's at 1,000, as soon as it drops below 800, it doesn't matter how much damage is dealt to it unless the enemy does 800 worth of damage. Otherwise, your smite's gonna get it. So yeah, I mean, basically, just that's why you do your smite second, because you want to get it as close to 800 as possible before you click smite. Like you want it to be, you want to be 800 or lower, but obviously 750 is better than like
your
400.
ability will put it right above 800, and then if anyone else hits it, it's like it's your smite that will put it into the negative, which means death.
Which is why
so it's always
sometimes you'll see when people mess up their smites, you'll see the number go to like 4. Like if you think that you do 1200 but you do 1196 or whatever, it's gonna like barely not get it. That's why you see people usually mess that up in that regard. But yeah, you should just understand roughly the amount of damage you can do, and the more you play the champ, the better you're gonna get at it. But I think you understand then now, right?
I see, but like a challenger situation, this guy knows exactly how much his combo will do, so he can steal it.
No,
not necessarily.
99% of people don't know. Like, I only knew that for the 2 champs I was playing when I was really tryharding jungle. I don't even know anymore. Now it's just a rough guess of like within 100. We probably mostly know within like 100, but we don't know exactly.
I hear you. Okay.
But your mechanics here, you're going on him. You're dashing without your moonlight, like your Q, so you're losing your dash, which is obviously a mistake. And then ulting someone when they're like so far on the edge. Obviously, again, I don't want to point out too many mechanical things because this is pretty obvious.
I so many bad ults in a couple of these games.
Yeah, no, but what I mean is these things are obvious. Like you can fix it by just playing the champ more. You know you messed up if you missed your ult. So I don't need to point it out too much. But the main thing is being better at keeping track of your moonlight. And you know your ult applies moonlight as well, right? So
actually, that's something I've been trying to work on more. Right? Is like having that little micro understanding that it's like I can ult to reapply moonlight for an extra dash, basically meaning an extra ability of damage in like a 1v1 or otherwise.
Yeah, usually Diana, like another important thing is your dash does basically no damage. So every time you dash on someone, you need to try to auto in between if you're like able to.
No, that's exactly. It's the attack speed that really
you get the attack speed buff. So like you Q onto someone and then you dash because your dash will reset. And then after you dash, you ult because it'll make more moonlight on them. Then you dash to someone again after autoing in between your ult. And basically just every time you use an ability, you want to try to auto in between if you can, and you want to like make sure before you dash your next Moonlight, you probably get an auto off at least to build up that attack speed and build up your third auto attack, which is like the one that does more damage. So that's really what the reason that we're like going all around in fights and autoing is to build up that burst damage from the auto attacks mainly. So yeah. And then here again, we are wasting time. Like once again, an objective just died. There's a ton of people in mid. We're low health. We don't have our ult. We don't have flash, or do we? I don't know. It doesn't matter either way. And we're trying to fight. We're losing a bot turret right now, which is bad. We're not gaining gold on top side because there's a wave, and this wave is going to die because I think that your wave is bigger, so it'll kill that wave.
Yeah.
So we're losing gold on top side. We're losing gold on bot side. We have camps up. We're losing gold everywhere, and we're going for a kill on someone who's full health with a Lulu while we're low health with no ult, which I don't need to say more. Obviously, that's not going to end well. So.
I honestly think one of the big mistakes of this game was I seriously underestimated Lulu in a couple scenarios where it's like it was already a bad play, but like with a Lulu on their team, it was even more just an
well, like
obviously
the thing is, you're going to learn eventually how to play your champ better and when you can go in, when you can't, just through trial and error. But every mistake you make isn't a mistake if you're 5k gold ahead. And you could be 5k gold ahead. I would probably have a 5k gold lead here, even if my KDA was also 3, 3, and 4, just because I would be invading. Yeah, like I would be farming way more than you. I would be invading the enemy. I would be taking turrets because we have gold bounties on turrets, so we should be pinging our teammate to go for topside if we can. The only thing is we don't want to play on side lane if an objective is spawning soon, but we want to be near the objective as jungle. But
mid right there, like say I was farming bot, like when they were in the mid there, and I know this fight just happened, but like
yeah,
otherwise, if I could have farmed all of that, gone and invaded his blue side, and maybe put I don't know, I wouldn't have had wards, but
well, you shouldn't invade blue side because yes, you could have invaded if you wanted, but you shouldn't invade in a game when you're behind and when your waves are pushing, because your teammates are also not playing well at all. So they're all mid lane, which means you have no one bot lane, no one top lane. Since a Baron's up, you'd rather be bot. So as a split pusher, like a top laner, right, like a Fiora, you want to be opposite side of the objective. So that's important to understand.
Exactly.
But as a jungler, you want to be the same side of the objective. So if you want to get gold on a lane, you want to go bot lane because that's the Baron's up. So you should be.
So even though they're all fighting here, right? It's like it's actually much better for me to have pushed that wave in the bottom and set up for Baron in this way. It's like
well, it's not even about setting up for Baron because you're too behind. You're never doing Baron.
Yeah, we're
not
gonna get Baron.
You're there so that they don't get it. But yeah, fighting in mid is stupid, especially when we're behind on a scaling champion. And also, I didn't even notice this. I think you should go mana boots every single game. I don't really think you should ever go defensive boots.
Really, like that's why I've been trying more. Like, cause it's like they have like Lucian.
Well, again, we have to think about the context of your champ. Like I said, I'm answering all these questions in the context of what our champ wants to do. Right. We want to one-shot people and carry games. And unless enemy comp is like 5 AD and you know you're gonna get immense value from steel caps and you're already like pretty fed or you expect to get fed or like early game goes pretty well, in that case maybe then you can go for these. But I would get mana boots before I even get my first item. It's like a huge power spike. My damage gets way higher. The mana is kind of nice too. I would definitely almost never go for steel caps again unless like enemy has like multiple ADCs, which in this game they do have multiple ADCs. But that's even more reason for me to go mana boots because I'm going to one-shot those squishies easier. But like everything you have to think about again is trying to carry your teammates because that's what you have to do in the lower elo, especially on Diana. If you're playing a Jarvan or something that's supportive, it's different. But everything we're doing is in thinking about what our champ wants to do. Also, do you need anti-heal this game? I mean, they have ADCs, so maybe it's fine.
Well, there's the Wukong I was considering. And
yeah,
then
anti-heal's fine enough, but
also it was this. It was like I thought that Tristana was the most fed, and she has Immortal Shield bow.
Yeah, I mean you could go for it. I mean, I wouldn't so early. I would rather be one-shotting people. Also, this is kind of another thing. Defensive building as well as like anti-heal items, their stats are worse, obviously, right? Because they have previous wounds, so they have just like a defensive. Yeah. Like a defensive AP item like Protector or whatever, I don't know, Reflector, they all have worse stats damage-wise to compensate for the fact that they have other stats. So if you're an assassin whose goal is to one-shot people, and we aren't ahead in gold, if you decide like just think about it balance wise. Obviously they're not going to make it so that an assassin can one-shot people while being super behind. And then not only that, but you're behind slash even, and you're building items which aren't giving you max damage. There's no way you're ever going to one-shot people, even though that's your goal as an assassin
Right.
champion.
So it's like it would be a good idea to build like a frozen heart because of the Lulu, Tristana, and all the attack speed. Even though you could consider the attack speed, and that's not like it won't do enough. Basically.
Well, the time when we justify defensive building, and not Frozen Heart, never build Frozen Heart on Diana. If you're building an armor item, you'd build, it's called Reflector, I think, Crystalline Reflector.
Yeah,
because
I know.
it gives
I was
AP
more
2.
thinking like an anti-attack speed item. Because
But yeah. So
right, or whatever.
So if we are in the situation where we want armor, we would build Crystalline. But what I'm saying is, in this game where we're behind, we can't do that. If you're ahead on a champ and you're a carry, it becomes more valuable because you're already like going to one-shot people. So then you can start worrying about building defensively.
Oh.
So
So
like,
you don't
yeah,
wanna
if we're
build-
ahead, then that's when we're okay with it more. So and
I heard it
anti-heal is a bit
backward.
different, but because sometimes anti-heal you have to build it anyways because they have so much. But in this type of game where it's kind of like 50-50 on whether you should build it or not, if I'm behind, I wouldn't be building it. I'd only be building it when I'm
Yeah.
ahead.
So it's like I don't look at Tristana, see her as the most carried, and think like I need to build against her damage. It would be
Yeah.
better to build to trying to kill her faster.
And
But
then there's
even
one more
more
caveat though. I think you
Uh-huh.
understand, so I'm gonna just go on. The other caveat is if you have someone like mega carrying you, maybe it's fine to just be tankier because then you might think of yourself as an engage at
Yeah.
that point, and then you're going in and you're just all things so that they, and then you just want to survive as long as
like,
possible
that
so
could
they
be a
deal the damage.
strategy. I see
Yeah,
that
yeah.
for Diana specifically, or Wukong actually. So,
Yeah, which is why like everything is nuanced. Like everything I tell you, you can logically think through it yourself. Not everything I tell you is a defined rule where it's just every single time you do that. It's just general things. So you should
Yeah,
try to be able
like,
to
I could
critically
win a
think yourself.
game going like 0-10 because I just engaged and ulted, and then they just
Yeah.
cleaned them up. Like that would
I
be a
can't believe
win.
you haven't lost yet.
No, I know. I mean, obviously, this is very low elo in the sense that it's like, and honestly, we don't have to watch this game specifically anymore because the end of this game is just simply a fed
Well,
Tristana Lulu.
that's what I'm skipping through now. I'm trying to see if there's anything else, but I don't need to like look through every moment in time. At this point, you keep going on to Tristana like 1v2 with her Lulu, which is strange. But
I know. My thought is like, I just need to kill her. If in any circumstance, I could see some.
again, your
or-
thought should be you are a champ who scales insanely well. If you get to 3 or 4 items, even if enemy ADC is 5 items, you'll still close to one-shot them. So your goal should still be in between objectives getting gold, so that you maybe get an extra item before Elder Dragon. And then Elder Dragon is that one time where if the enemy team ends up doing something stupid, which they will because it's Plat, you might just happen to get the Elder Dragon, and then the entire game turns around, and then all of a sudden you just win. So we should, like, at this point, you should be like, okay, I just want them to mess up, and then I go for
I
Baron
hear
or Elder.
you. At some point, almost like 5 minutes ago, I should have just been basically focused on farming for that Elder Dragon moment.
Well, we should have been focused on farming 16 minutes and 47 seconds ago.
Yeah,
but also, also 5. But again, even here, yeah, I like the idea. Like I was just saying, someone just died, and now you're trying to go for Baron. But there's an issue here, and that's that we're about to get death cap, and we're not aware of that. And so we're starting it right before we get our biggest power spike. Probably Diana's biggest power spike of the entire game is death cap, and you're, instead of getting that, flipping it before you get that. So now we're just going to lose. But also, I wouldn't really want to flip with just a Lulu dead. I would always think we're going to lose this, so.
Okay, you're right.
Probably not good, but
it needs to be a jungler or the Tristana.
Yeah, someone fed or jungle. Exactly.
And
also, you need to have like good clear on it. Jhin is bad at getting it. Garen's not going to get it fast. Lux isn't going to get it fast. Like if you have like a Kaisa and like other stuff, like maybe you could burst it, but yeah, you don't kill it fast either. So it's also not good in that regard. And then I don't know, they don't end somehow, but I'm gonna write some stuff down at the end, like before we end, but we'll go over the other game first. And when I write stuff down, like you'll have a video of this, so I'm not gonna write down every small thing. We're just gonna write down the main things I want you to focus on for when you go into games, and I want you to just choose 1 or 2 of those things at a time to improve on. And then instead of going through 10 different things, it's too hard to think of all these things at once. So just go into a game again. Like that's why I said overly focus on farming in a couple games, or even like 10 games, however many games. I don't know how much time you have to play, but some amount of games for however many
like
days.
to enforce that like almost to make it like
you just build
nature.
habits. I mean, I was stuck in Grandmaster for 2 years because I didn't play the game. I played more casually until I started streaming like a year and a half ago, and then when I started streaming for another 6 months, I was stuck in Grandmaster because I was just permanently building these habits rather than like I don't just improve instantly. It takes a long time. But eventually now, like, I built up enough habits where slowly I've managed to climb, even though before I was hard stuck for 2 years because I wasn't doing that. I was just playing the game. So if you're more intentional about it, it's not going to be instant, but eventually
what
those
you
habits will
mean.
build up. So
Like reviewing the games after you lose is a good example of that. Like it's so easy to just not.
you
But
don't
that one
have to.
difference.
You can review them, but it's also a game, so have fun. Like if you don't like
Oh,
reviewing,
of
don't.
course.
But if you like watching your games back every once in a while, or you're just frustrated and you feel hard stuck, yeah, like I go through. If I get
Exactly.
stuck in a rank for like a long time, I'll do that. I don't review much, but I do review when I feel like I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. And so yeah, I have like videos on my YouTube about reviewing games. So if you're more interested in what I look at, that's also could be helpful. Is there any
Actually,
questions or anything you have about that at that point after that game?
No, I mean, that went well.
Okay, we'll
I
go
think
through
that
one
this
more.
game, I don't think that, here's another thing. So it's like I sent you 2 games that are Diana games because as you saw in that first game, it's like I already have too much to worry about of the fundamentals, and I have played a little Wukong, but I just was like trying to focus on more.
I mean, I think it's great if you just one trick Diana. Like, if you have fun, I don't. Some people don't have fun playing just one champ, but
I
if
really
you're
love it.
yeah, if you're cool with that, then just play only Diana for a long time until you get to a certain rank, and then you can expand your pool as you get better. But Diana is a champ that you could one trick all the way to Sovereign. You literally could never play another champ again, apart from when it gets taken, and you'd be
Do you
fine.
think you gotta worry about like nerfs, buffs, situation? Like I know
No.
actually, for example, things are looking well for Diana in the future, but like
You don't
you know,
like
you
at
pick the
all.
one track,
People
and
climb
I
on
know like
everything. It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
okay,
It
that's a
doesn't
good
matter at
idea.
all. Your understanding of a champ is way more important than the strength of the champ. It does not matter whatsoever. I climb way higher on Jace than I do on any champ, and that's because I'm better at Jace. He's a strong champ right now, but regardless of his strength, I mean, I was a one-trick Varus for a long time. I climbed on Varus, regardless of how strong he was. And also, champions have kits that are just always good and bad. Like,
Yeah, I hear
Diana
you.
is never really gonna suck. Like, she's always gonna be somewhat viable. It's just numbers. Like, she's just a burst assassin with a ton of dashes, mobility.
It's just easier or harder to accomplish the goal of the champion, basically.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not really. And again, you can worry about that when you get there.
Yeah,
One
no
tricking allows you to get to a higher rank quicker than learning a ton of things. And then once you get to that higher rank, you naturally learn more. So then it'll be better to switch in the long run anyway. Like, if you need to switch to a champion later, it's better switching there once you're diamond than switching once you're plat or something.
It's true. Okay.
And then the only thing I haven't talked about that I think is important to do in every game is understanding lane matchups. I don't know. You said you're a support main, right? Like you hit master on support. So
Yeah.
okay. So one, if you really want to learn jungle, you're gonna have to stick to it for a while. It shouldn't like go back and forth. If you want to play 2 roles, that's fine, but it's gonna take time. And like I would just say, try to be patient with learning.
Border
Again,
support, so I'm more interested in really jumping into jungle for like a while. And you know, I'm willing.
Yeah.
You got to be able to play 2 roles. Except for honestly, if you play jungle, then you can basically just play
well,
jungle.
yeah. If
every
support's
game.
your second role that you're queuing and you play it when you're autofill, that's great because then you have another role where like that's why it's good that I've played every role because now if I'm autofill, I'm
Exactly.
never worried. So that's fine. But yeah, like the one tricking thing, you have to be patient. You have to play your champ for a long time, play this role for a long time, like really commit to grinding it if you want to improve, because this information I'm giving you isn't useful if you decide in a week you want to be a top lane main now. So yeah, there's
No,
that. But
you're right.
anyways, we need
It's
to
funny
understand
how
lane
many
matchups.
people
So
are-
go ahead.
it's,
Sorry.
Plat that basically are watching tier lists and representing different roles when it's like they should just be learning how to farm, like you're telling me, basically.
Well, not
It's like-
only that, but the content creators aren't like universally correct. Like if you watch like Hell's Devil tier list, like he's a good player. He knows what he's talking about. I've seen some of his tier lists and thought some of the temps in S tier were like F tier. Like I thought some of them sucked or vice versa. Like it's completely, one, it's biased by the champs we're good at. I'm going to think Jace is stronger because Jace is my best champion. But
Yeah,
someone
like,
who sucks
I'm
at
all-
Jace might think he's bad, even if they're a really high elo player, because it's just harder to tell. Or sometimes you get shit on by a champ, like say Zoe shits on me a lot because I don't even know entirely how that champ wants to play. But she's not as strong as
You
it
just
feels
rate
to
her
me.
high, yeah.
So it's like even the you need to just don't think of these players as some like gods. Like they're just people who play a video game a ton, and a lot of them don't even think. And I'm not talking about Hell's Devil specifically. He's a good player, and I think you can learn from him. I'm just using him as an example because he's a popular content creator. But regardless, don't think of these people as like really better than you. They're not smarter than you or like anything special. They just play the game a lot, just like me. I just play the game a lot and I learn through repetition. So, but okay, I finally will talk about what I was meaning to talk about. So you're a support main, so you understand matchups in bot lane relatively well. So you need to try to go every game and just understand how you think the matchup's going to go, and you can learn more as like every time just kind of guess who wins and loses, and then you'll learn more as you see what actually happens in these matchups.
For example, this game I went Conquer and Tooth because of the Garen and Nautilus, and I thought like even though I know Mastery, like I don't know exactly what he'll build, but maybe some of his attack items will build health. Like I don't know exactly what he's gonna build, to be honest, right? But it's like
Yeah,
can
no,
imagine
that's
he might
good. I
build
mean, even
something.
Corky sometimes builds health. So no, it's correct to go like this build that you're going this game and
I
going
did
Giant
this
Slayer.
game.
Yeah, but what I mean is for pathing is what we want to know matchups for more than anything else. So you're a champ who doesn't care that much about where you're pathing because you're just farming. But we still, it's not bad to be in a lane that we think's more volatile because then there's more likely that we can get one of those free kills. So when we look at it, we know Lucian wins like every mid lane matchup, so he's gonna win a Akali. What do you think happens in the other two matchups? I'll ask
Like
you.
let's do this. I probably am not gonna kill that set early. And the Garen might be, I don't know how good of a player he is. So but that Vayne is gonna be weak and that Nautilus has the CC. So that's the lane I want to go for.
Okay, so I'm not really wanting to gank bot or top because Garen's really hard to kill, like you said. The things I look at are how easy it is to kill the.
I was looking at my team thinking they were the enemy. Sorry. So yeah,
Right.
I see that.
But
You
either
think
way,
the Lucian Ollie is what you said.
yeah. So we need to think about two things when we're looking at who we might want to gank. And the first is how hard they are to kill, and the second is three things, I guess. How hard they are to kill, how good our teammate has like set up for, like Set has CC or whatever, and then who actually wins the matchup. Because if they win the matchup, you get prio and you can go for scuttle and whatnot. So we want to path towards people with prio if we can. In this case, we have a mid laner with prio, which is great because we don't give a crap where we're going because he's mid lane, obviously. But we have a losing matchup. Vayne and Lux should lose. And Set Garen, like it's pretty whatever. Like we don't know what's gonna happen. They're just two big guys slapping each other. So more likely than not, I would rather go towards my Set because he has a bit of CC, so I could possibly kill Garen. Plus, it's possible I get prio, and then I have my Lucian that I'm more gonna play around. But I'm gonna go towards the side of Garen. And then Vayne, Lux, they don't have great CC. Lux has CC, but Nautilus has more and is like really hard to kill. Corky has a dash and is not an easy champ to kill. So I'm not thinking that we're probably going to kill that bot lane because I'm Diana. We don't have a ton of damage. Yeah. But yeah, so those are the main things we're looking at is how easy it is to kill someone, how hard it is, or how easy it is for our teammate to set up for that kill, and then who wins and loses the matchups. And we're just going to kind of learn that the more we play. But as a power farmer, the most important thing is if you have a winning or losing matchup because you want prio for scuttle because you're going to be weaker early game, so you're going to need more help.
So every game, depending on the matchups, I want to confidently determine my pathing and go blue side or red side based off what I determine on those matchups. And you
also, again, where it comes into context of champ, so if we're planning on one-tricking Diana, the time where you want to be at the lane you want to be at is level 5 because that's the first time you have a great gank opportunity, and then level 3 is usually a decent gank opportunity but less likely to work. So like here, level 3, I want to be in mid because I might be able to gank my Lucian who probably will have Akali low. And then level 5, I want to be on Set because Set will have ult for CC, which is why I'm what I'm really thinking about. And I don't want to be ganking Nautilus at level 5 because he's going to ult me and I'm probably not going to kill him, and he's hard to kill. Yeah. So again, like a Jarvan can gank level 2 because he has his EQ. So in that case, you're thinking about what's the best opportunity for me to be at level 2. But for you, you're thinking about level 3 and 5 for where you want to be. And level 3 also because of Scuttle. And that's why we want Scuttle after 3 camps, most likely. Again, because I was talking
full
about
side red clear, and then maybe a gank mid, and then you're pathing towards top. And that's the way that you're just like thinking.
Almost. I mean, you're starting full red side. Into I would look for mid gank more, and then I would go Scuttle. And then I would go top because you want the scuttle. Okay. But yeah, that's all. Just the scuttle. You got to think about.
I should get level 3 with time for maybe a gank before scuttle fight.
Yeah, you should be getting level 3. I think by level like 110, 115, you should be clearing these 3 camps. And your clears seem fine enough. You don't like mess up too badly. You do it relatively well. You don't kite back like perfectly, but it's good enough. Oh, and switch your autos on mini camps. You always want to be hitting the higher health one. So every auto you should be switching to the higher health one because it'll even out the health, so they'll die. Because if you do it properly, your one auto will kill both of these guys at the same time, and it's just slightly more efficient.
But now I have to use 2. Yep, or 3.
Yeah, so that's like a small thing. But if you practice your clear, if you really want to get good, practicing, and here you go W, which is good. But practicing your clear is slightly helpful because there's plenty of times where you probably had a gank that if you were there 1 or 2 seconds earlier, it would have worked. So here, every second you lose is kind of valuable. And then we see mid, and we should be scrolling mid because we want to see the buffs of the enemy jungle, because then we can figure out where he's been so far. So I'm guessing if we scrolled to their jungle, we'd know that he took his red, because usually they would. But if he happened to take blue here, then you'd be like, oh, he just took his blue, he probably wants red, he's probably going to be red side next. And that's just information you can use to know maybe he's going to get top, so maybe I want to be top side just to possibly counter gank or something.
Yeah,
so
it's ridiculous. I don't even
see
scroll.
He has red, but yeah. And then here, when he's level 3, his mid laner is alive, yours is dead. What you should have done as soon as you saw him is kite these guys down here so that he can't take them. But instead, you got caught, and now he's going to try to kill you. Yeah, like you could have done what you did right now, but earlier. And I mean, since he's also wasting time, it's kind of like, I don't mind you going up like that even. Like, I think you can kill him probably. Okay, this is where we messed up. We used our dash way too early. Like, because you use your dash so early, you use it when he has like I think he has damage reduction in here. And then you used it before he ran away at all, so now you have no gap closer. If you waited for your Q to come up, you Q'd him, you E'd onto him, you'd have a second E to chase him further. So
I hear you. Yeah, okay. So I could have been, when he's doing his little meditate, it's like patience is a good.
Yeah, and then also, if we're going to one-trick Diana, we want to be good at all the mechanics, so stop flashing and queuing, start queuing and flashing. And I messed these up, so you're going to mess them up. You're going to sometimes Q, and then your Q is going to go, and then it's going to flash, and it's going to suck. But in the long run, it'll be better for you. So
no, and honestly, like I've practiced a lot of different forms of the flash ability, and I just never even considered like a Diana form.
Diana's is one of the hardest, by the way. I don't know why, but it's way harder. Like you have to do it a lot quicker, so you're really gonna have to try to get quick at it. But this is another small thing, which is we're not going for scuttle here. You need to think about it this way: like your camps, 95% of the time, especially into a Master Yi, are going to be up because he's not going to invade. But these are neutral objectives. Either person could take scuttle. So if they take the scuttle, you lose out on that XP and gold. But unless for some reason you see them invading you, you're not going to lose these things. So you can wait a little longer to get them and take that bot scuttle. Like you could have taken the bot scuttle after that fight, or you could have taken top scuttle right now. So
yeah, you're right. Especially considering I literally just knew he died and probably is not going to confidently just run to the scuttle right out. You know, he's not going to beat me to whatever. I mean, I get this one, but you're right. I should have, especially in just the idea of going higher and higher elo. I should just know that like I wasted my opportunity there.
Yeah, and also notice how if you're building mana boots early, you get a pretty early power spike. You are playing badly so far in terms of farm, and you have your item power spike at 214. That's 60 AP and some amount of 10 or 50 AP, whatever. That's a ton. If after you clear these 2 camps, you just back and you get that, every gank is more likely to work out, every fight, everything. But
and there's a big question I had actually about jungle, and this is one I think I've messed up a bunch. Is like, when should I be looking to back for items for the first clear? It's like, should I be looking to clear fully, and sometimes things happen. Like say there's a gank, right? I guess it changes. Like I have a gank, I go low health, I need to back. But
it's extremely simple actually. It's just unless you're gonna get invaded. It's once you've cleared the side of the map you're on, you back most likely, except for your first clear. Obviously, your first clear, you're probably going to run to top side as well.
I see. Okay.
But apart from that, just once you clear the side, unless you plan to gank, it's pretty much as fast, if not faster, because you get the move speed out of base to back and then go to the other side of the map to farm, rather than just
things
run
like
there.
that help a lot. Like hearing things with like because you're sitting there wondering, I see how much gold I have, but it's like, well, maybe I could gank here, or and I just wonder like. That's the thing about jungle, like which choice is best.
Well, I mean, if you watch me play jungle, I have games where I'm sitting on 4k gold, and sometimes it's a mistake, but a lot of times I am like, again, I'm thinking about I want gold before dragon. So if there's no dragon spawning, I'm not that worried about backing because And if you played this better, you would have. Okay, we'll talk about that fight after. But yeah, like I'm thinking only about getting like gold before the objective. So if I can see getting an extra camp, I'm gonna get that camp before I back. If it's like stealing an enemy camp and I know they're not there for whatever reason, I'm going to take that and like keep greeting extra gold if I know that if I die, I'm still gonna respawn before the objective or something. Whereas like if an objective's spawning soon, I'm wanting to back earlier to get that power spike. So yeah, like you don't need to back permanently if you have opportunities to get more things. But if you plan on going to the other side of the map soon, there's no reason not to back because then you're going to be stronger for those fights.
Okay. Yeah.
But then I'm going to go back on this fight now.
Yeah, please.
I mean, first of all, we don't want to fight it because we need to look at our map and know that Garen's right there and our set's nowhere near.
Rotate.
So yeah, we should die. But not only that, but we're playing it mechanically bad. So first, if you walked up here, which I don't mind, like I would have walked up here like you did, but you could have just queued and smited. Yeah, if you just queued and smited the scuttle, it just dies and you just get it. Like it was in range for you. You could have just killed it and then just ran away and it was just free gold.
But I was just thinking, yeah, and that would have been the play instead of like, oh, I'm gonna kill the E Garen right there.
There's also mechanical mistakes here. So you Q and then you E. And then what do? You ult right away. Instead of, you know, using your W, getting actual damage on him. You also don't dash when you had your Moonlight applied to him, when you ulted, like after you ulted. So you lost your dash. You could have had an extra dash because he had Moonlight on him, but you waited too long. And you also don't smite. When you're fighting someone, you should smite them pretty much always, like 95% of the time.
And even really, like the Garen, and any point could have just run up and silenced me there.
Yeah, and the only time you don't want to waste your smite is obviously if you think an objective spawning soon or something, but, you know, that's kind of obvious if you only have one smite or whatever, but... Yeah, so now we go farm.
What about if you're gonna kill the jungler though? Like,
well, no, like if you're gonna even kill not a jungler, if like you'll see me go to dragon sometimes without smite because I just killed someone. Like if I could have killed that Garen and the herald is spawning in 15 seconds, I would smite to kill the Garen and then I would just go herald because I have an extra person now. So I'm perfectly fine with wasting smite for a kill before an objective.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if you think you're gonna guarantee get it, whereas like I'm gonna be a bit more cautious about smiting him. I'm not just gonna smite him. Whereas if it's
like
no objective for 2 minutes, yeah,
I see that.
I'll just smite right away. Like if I'm not worried about an objective. But here I'll be a bit more cautious with it if an objective was spawning, and that's good. You blow his flash and now you go farm because you only have 2 camps up. So this is an okay time to waste. But again, there's one other thing with. I don't need to pause. There's one other thing with when we're farming. If we farm a side of the map really close together, like say you got your Krugs, you immediately got your Raptors right after. They'll respawn at a similar time as well. Whereas here you wasted time after getting Krugs, and then you get Raptors later. So now next time you go bot side, only one of those camps is going to be up. Whereas if they're spawning at a similar time, it creates like, obviously you don't have to go back and forth and back and forth. You just go there once, you get both of them, and then you run away. And then buffs spawn at different timers, like they have different timers, so you don't need to sync those up. But syncing your small camps on the same side of the map allows you to farm them without wasting as much time.
Yeah, okay.
And then we don't need to farm 20 seconds before an objective. We want to back, get as much of possible items as we can, and then choose an objective to go for. We don't care about this anymore. We cared about this
even
for the first 4 minutes.
Gold
yeah, and we're wasting smite. That's even worse. Not only are we wasting smite when we're not...
Okay, my idea was this. Like, smite would come up. Like, I'd have it back before it.
Yeah, no, you have another smite. So it's not... like, that's fine, like, to use it, but also
you
smited it. You should only smite to execute. Don't smite like that, you know?
Okay. Okay. Oh, here's a question that I don't know the answer to. It's like when the buff sharing mechanic, how does that work? Does that just start at a certain point in the game?
Okay, so it's a little weird. I don't know if it's 7:30 or 8 minutes, but it's when a buff spawns at 8 minutes. So if you take a buff at 9 minutes, it might not drop it if that buff spawned earlier. But if the buff spawned at 8 minutes or later, or 7:30, I don't know the exact, but I think it's 8 minutes. If it spawned at 8 minutes or later, it shares. That's all.
Another advantage of clearing your camps on time, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Because I thought
you need to have like pulling this out. You need to pull this out.
Okay, yeah, pulling it out is something
I sweep. There's no reason to not sweep. You should know if they have vision, so you know if you need to be worried about smiting perfectly. So.
Okay. Especially since I have 2 teammates.
Yeah. Which objective is it that you usually like going for? Do you care?
I more often find myself going for Rift Herald, especially considering the dragon. Like, if I see it's the Ocean Dragon, that's an instant Rift Herald for me in a lot of ways. And okay, maybe not.
Why is it that you like Herald?
Often I find that it's like so much more easy. So for example, playing Diana, right? It's like I find maybe a lot of games this farming weakness of mine. I've noticed that it's like I'll be weak. I'll have a harder time in the early game to come back in the late game, which is more clear to me now as a factor of my weakness farming. And so for that, I think it's like something will happen in the early game. Maybe my team will be the problem, like they're weak tops towards the dragon, like whatever lane is near dragon's weak. Or maybe I died and I know that the jungler is going for dragon, so I know I can, go for Rift Herald. So it just seems more often that I find this Rift Herald play with Diana, and it's probably because my farming.
No, so the only thing I wanted to hear if you would say was talking about how, like, basically your goal on Diana. I want you to start answering every question I ask you in the context of Diana again, like what you want.
Okay.
And you basically said it.
Gold.
What you want is gold, and how you get gold is Herald. You don't get it from Dragon. You already scale anyways. We only care about ourselves, so we care about Herald because Herald helps ourselves. Dragon helps our team. Not only that, but as a scaling champ, you're already going to be super powerful late game. First Dragon is always useless. It doesn't matter if it's Infernal, Mountain, whatever.
Even Infernal, I always wonder that. Like,
well, it's 3%. Do you know what 3% damage is? If we look at how much AP do you have? You have what? Like at this point in the game, you should have 100 or 200 AP. How much AP does an item? What does Amplifying Tome give you? Like Amplifying.
I feel like it gives 45.
No, it's way less than that. It's like 20. I think Amplifying Tome gives 20. I'm pretty sure it
That's
gets
the
20.
best.
So 500 gold for 20, like that's nothing. That means that if you have 100 AP and 20 of that is what, 20%, right? So 20% of your damage at that point in the game is 20 AP. You're getting 3% damage from the Infernal for all of your teammates. So like you're barely getting 500 gold. You're not getting 500 gold. Across your entire team, you're not even getting 500 gold worth of value. And like the later on in the game it goes, the closer you get to 500 gold of value or to 1,000. It goes better as the game goes on. But 3% is always basically nothing. But if you're getting Herald and you get first turret, you're getting probably 3-4 plates, which is like 600 gold, plus first turret gold, which is, you're getting over 1,000 gold. So you're getting over double the value early game.
When you get a Rift Herald and it like clicks all that gold on you, is that shared gold with your team? For those,
So
you know what I'm
turrets, so the way it works is, Herald, for plates, you have to be in the range to get them. So if 2 people are in the range, you get 75 each. If 1 person's in the range, you get 150 per. So typically, if you're dropping Herald, there's probably going to be 1 person sharing it with you. So you're probably going to get 75 per, and you're probably getting 4 because it does 24-ish 100. I don't need to tell you how the damage for Herald works, but it's going to give you like 4 plates. You're going to get 300 gold.
I make sure to share it in some way. Like, not make sure, like I should drop it if I need to, but like
you should
if
try
I can
to not share it. But what your real goal is looking.
Oh, I don't want to share it. I want all the gold.
Yeah, but your real goal is looking for what has 2,400 or lower. If any of these turrets are 2,400 or lower, you can get first turret off them. But the ideal way to drop Herald is it's at exactly 2,400, or because if you drop it at 1,200, you only get 2 plates in the turret, right? But if you drop it when it's at 2,400, or like anywhere between 1,801 and 2,400, you're getting the max gold. So our ideal time to drop Herald on any turret is when it's there. And obviously we need to drop it before 7:30 because plates drop at 7:30 and then it doesn't really matter. But yeah, we want to break first turret gold and get as many plates as possible, basically. And we
say one of my lanes has pushed their turret and they have it kind of low. It's like, is it better to go drop it in a lane where I get more plates versus getting that turret? Okay, so don't.
How low. If it's like, if you're still gonna get like 3 plates, I would go for the first turret. But if you're gonna get 2 plates or less, I'd probably be going for another turret. And then mid is also better to break than others because it gives you more access to the whole map. So if they're all equal health, you want to drop it mid. But more than that, we want gold from it. So max gold is the first thing we value. Second is we try to get it mid if we can. Those are the main 2 things. And then also last thing, if you break a turret, it gives both local gold to people who are close to it, and it gives gold to your entire team as well. So it'll give both. But whoever's near it when it dies also gets extra gold.
Here's the situation of Rift Herald. It's like my team is losing early, and especially my mid. See, my mid's getting beat on. It's like, should I try in a circumstance that maybe even all their turrets are full, drop it in the lane of my strongest teammate?
Yeah, your goal is usually to play towards your strongest person, and
Yeah, and I
it's
should free
fine to
them of
drop
their
it in a
turret.
full health turret. Like full health turrets are fine. We're fine with dropping it on a 3,000 health turret. It's just ideally it's between 1801 and 2400, but 3,000 health turret we're happy. We get 600 gold from that. That's already, like I was talking about, that's more value and more gold on an individual person than the entirety of even the best dragon in the game, early game, on your entire team spread out across 5 people. So like on you individually, it's like 5 or 6 times as valuable as a dragon. And you know how dragons work. Like if you get 2 dragons, the percentage goes up. So they scale
So
better.
it's time I have to go for the second dragon, though. Is the
Yeah, if
idea,
you're
like,
giving up first dragon, you really don't want to give up second dragon, which is why
Yeah.
like we have to
If
be
it would
farming well and be
return.
able to whip strong enough to win that fight. But even more than that, if your team's already behind, you're probably not going to win by getting a dragon because that dragon's not useful until your team's getting snowballed on so hard that the game's out of control. But if you're able to get 1,000 extra gold on you / your teammates with Herald versus going for a dragon and getting no real value out of that until it's too late, you know, obviously you're going to catch up much quicker by getting that extra gold. So gold in the early game is much more valuable, but the dragons, the later and later you go, the better. So if you want to be good at snowballing and carrying yourself, the Herald's better. But there's a lot of situational things. Don't go Herald every game. I'm just saying Herald is overall better for Diana more often than not. But I do have videos as well on Herald, and like I have videos on pretty much anything at this point.
Yeah.
So, but the main thing that you think about between Dragon is Herald is optimally you want Herald on Diana. But more than that, we want to play towards our stronger lanes. So we want to go to the objective that we have stronger people at. So if your top laner is doing really well, you want to play Herald. But if your bot lane is doing really well and your top laner is doing bad, you'd prefer to go for Dragon more often than not because you want to, because you're more likely to get it. Like obviously you want to get Herald,
Yeah.
but if you can't get Herald because your top laner is getting shit on, who cares, right? Now
Get
you're going to get no
Dragon.
objective.
Yeah.
But then even
Yeah.
more than that, if you're ahead in everywhere, you want to fight because obviously you're stronger, right? So now you're trying to anticipate where the enemy goes. So if you think they're going dragon because either they just cleared their blue side or because you just see them going towards there, you want to contest. So you want to contest and fight when you're stronger, and you want to obviously go to the opposite objective when you're weaker. So I know that's a
Yeah.
lot, but again, you can watch the VOD
that
obviously,
makes-
and we'll
that
also
all
write it
makes
down. So
Like along the lines of what I know. So some of these things too is like as a jungler making decisions,
yeah,
you can just be unsure, and unsureness is what will get you.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was Nautilus. I think that's how I screwed myself.
Another
there.
mechanical thing, you keep not Wing. As soon as you Q and dash onto someone, as soon as you dash W immediately, because the cooldown's going to come back and you're going to get it a second time. Here, you haven't used W yet. Why not? You know, no reason not to.
You're right.
Also, smite the Akali. Smiter, smiter, smiter. Okay. Well, we killed her
You're right.
anyway. Yeah, it's fine though. But yeah, so the mechanical things, like these are these smaller things that I think you'll be able to improve just from playing, but still, might as well point them out. If we're planning to one-trick Diana as well, it'll make mechanics easier because we're only learning one champ versus like learning a lot.
Yeah,
I
I'm
like that
looking
you at
forward
least
to
know how to
that.
use the passive well though, like on the camps. You're
I'm
using
really
it
trying to
properly.
focus on that because that's so important.
Oh,
for
that's what I
jungle.
forgot to tell you. Stop upgrading your E. It's W second. I don't know why you're upgrading E
Oh,
second.
okay, that's good to know.
Because E does no damage basically. We don't care
You're
about
right.
the damage, and you're resetting the cooldown. So the cooldown being low doesn't matter because we're resetting it with our moonlight. So yeah, go W.
Oh, that's a great point.
I looked up on Stuart's website. I don't know if you know this website, but a YouTuber called It's Stuart, he has this. It's called Wild Rift Fire. And if you're ever not sure,
Yeah.
some of these builds aren't great. I don't recommend, like, you can DM me if you want to know about builds anytime. I'll answer most of my DMs almost always. If you want to know proper builds, his builds are fine, but they're not always optimal. But the upgrade orders are usually right, and the builds are like good enough. So if you ever have questions about champs and you're just like trying to figure out roughly what to do, then you can look on here. So
wait, really quick for a squishy build then. It's like you would go Infinity Orb, Mana Boots, Infinity Orb, and then would you go Rabadon's third?
I would go, well, I say first, second, third, fourth, fifth in terms of items. I don't, like boots, I'm not gonna. So first, I would go
I see
Infinity
that.
Orb. So yeah, you go boots first, and then you go Infinity Orb. And then after Infinity Orb, I would go either Rabadon's or Riftmaker, depending on the game. Riftmaker if I want to survive longer and I'm gonna fight longer because you build up the passive to get
Yeah.
true damage. So if you're against tanks like in this game, we'd rather have Riftmaker, which then we're gonna go Nashers. So I guess okay, yeah, I would go Deathcap second probably, and then I'd probably go Riftmaker third still because I want a little bit of HP to not just die. After that, Trying to think. The build also, again, once the new patch comes, you can DM me again and I'll tell you the new build because it'll change. But I would go Void Staff
Yeah.
fourth. I would go Void Staff
'Cause that's
fourth.
going away, right? Void
Yeah,
Staff is going.
so that's why. But for now, go Void Staff. The update won't come for a little bit, so you've got time. So go Void Staff. And then fifth item is just kind of the defensive / anti-heal / whatever the heck the game needs. Maybe Lich Bane. If you just need pure damage, you go Lich Bane.
Okay, yeah, there is Lich Bane the good item of like I'm strong, I just need more damage. Is that like the closing if I just want damage, right?
So I think Lich Bane is really good with Nashers. Like I think Lich Bane second might be good with Nashers. I haven't really tested it. I've played 1 or 200 games with Diana, and I'm planning on playing her more, so I'll figure out more builds and stuff with her, but I do think that it's possible that Nashers and then Lich Bane second is good. And then like going like Nashers, Lich Bane, Riftmaker, Deathcap, but you probably go Deathcap before Riftmaker because Deathcap's kind of OP at the moment until they make the change. But that's kind of getting off track. Yeah, so for squishy build, and I'll DM this to you like later, or we'll write it in the notes. I might as well start the notes now. Let me hide my screen first. I don't know if my notes, I know you can see this. Okay, no, I didn't know if I had other stuff in my notes. Is it a black screen for you right now, or do you see my thing? I think you see it, right? Yeah, I think this hides it from the recording though. But anyways, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't leaking my something.
Oh, your sauce.
There's nothing in here, but I get nervous. Anyways, I'll write the build for now, and we'll write more stuff later. But for now, typical squishy build is gonna be, we said, Infinity Orb, Deathcap, Riftmaker, Void, Situational, and we'll write Lich, Defensive, Anti-heal, which I assume you'll be able to know what that means.
Yeah, of course. And so in that, Lich Bane for any build is just gonna be a good item to pick if maybe I'm way ahead and I just want damage.
I think you can go Lich Bane in the new update, especially now that they're adding pen to everything. You can go Lich Bane even earlier. Yeah. But I think Lich Bane, is going to be more of a snowballing item because you don't need the pen as much if you're already ahead. But at the same, and you already have pen from Infinity Orb, so I mean you could go Lich Bane whenever you just don't need another item, because it's going to be more damage than a defensive item or anti-heal. So basically, if you're not worried about getting blown up and you're not worried about them healing, that's when you'll go Lich Bane. There might be some other items, like I'm not a Diana God. There's probably a couple other types of builds you could go, but this one should work fine. And I wrote Electrocute here, and then it's going to be the same runes as
What do you
always.
think about for the last rune, if we're going domination, for a squishy build? Should I go Coup de Grace?
It'd either be Coup de Grace or Perseverance. It just depends if you think you're gonna get one shot. Like if you think they're gonna CC you a lot, basically, then you go Perseverance. But if you aren't worried about that and they're all squishy, like in the game, like the first game against a ton of ADCs, you would just go Coup de Grace. And then there was one other, but I think those ones are fine. And then
you think Coup de Grace over Gathering Storm, even like, or that's just like a choice?
I don't really like Gathering Storm.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it works well with the identity of your champion, but to me it's overkill because you're already so OP late game that I don't think it's necessary as much as just not dying by having Perseverance. Plus, it's nice to not get CC'd all the time, and Coup de Grace is going to be better for like the overall game.
Through the whole game, yeah.
Nashers, Riftmaker. But you also, I'm thinking Riftmaker could be Lich Bane if you prefer that. Like, you can test these things. Not everything is like a definite, this is the best. And then Deathcap and then Void. I don't go Infinity Orbit in this type of build. And then I would go the situational, same as above.
Just for your information, and funny enough, it's like, there's this weird, I think you have an effect on your cursor where it's like creating like a blurring on your notes, basically.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm gonna copy paste it and DM it to you, so it won't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
But yeah. So back in this game, also your aim on these Qs will get better the more you play. My aim still sucks with them, to be honest. Maybe it won't get better, but we'll see. I kind of have trash aim in general, even though I used to be a Varus main.
Yeah, I really need to turn off chat because ever since I've switched to jungle, I've been getting flamed every game.
I mean, it's just so useless. Like, the chat is so useless because these people don't know what they're talking about. I go and
No,
do.
and I know I'm playing bad, and I'm still gonna get SVP in this game.
Well, but it doesn't matter. Whether you play bad or not, you're gonna get flamed. I can go Smurf in Diamond, and I can get flamed while carrying my team. Like, my friend Pablo, he's like rank 1 at Quali. He was telling me how he went into like a low elo game, and he was like 19-0 or something, and he was getting flamed because he died one time from his like 0-6 person.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't matter. They're gonna flame you regardless. But this is a really also pings is extremely important as well, which is another smaller thing but important. You weren't aware of it, but once you're going to build to heaven, you're going to become aware.
If he gets that dragon so fast, yeah. I remember that, and I was going for that, but I should have.
Yeah, but again, you were going for it at 1 second. You see here going this way at 6. You're only going here by 1.
You're right.
So if we're thinking about it like a good player will think about it, you should be thinking about it right now. So you should be like, oh, 31 seconds. Maybe I have time to get this 1 camp, but then I'm going to go right away, and I'm going to ping it a ton. So you should be pinging by here. You should already be pinging attack dragon like until it runs out of pings, so you can't ping anymore. And then again, once your pings come back up, you ping it again if your teammates haven't gone. And then if your teammates still don't go, you turn on team chat for a little bit, and you tell them, you guys fucking suck, and then you turn it off again. Don't actually do that, but I might do that sometimes.
Or maybe if you think of something specific to say, like, hey, save
no, yeah,
your
like
CP
genuinely, you can type like, hey, go dragon, but yeah, that was more of a joke. Don't do that. But yeah, if you're actually gonna communicate real information, then yeah, that's fine to just turn on chat. Do you know how to like turn on chat and turn it off mid game, or no?
Actually, no.
If you go to settings, it's in the top left right away, and it just says team party. If you turn on team or party or whatever, you see that chat. But then when you go into your actual chat, there's like a little thing here that's like TS or the party symbol, and that's how you turn what you're typing to. So basically, if you have it on party, you can't type to your team, but if you turn this to team, then you see the team, and then you're able to type to them. It's a little confusing, but you'll figure it out.
I see that though. Okay, it's the one in the center. The other one is the typing, like who sees your chat. Okay.
And so yeah, now we lose an objective, and when our whole goal as a champ should be farming until an objective, losing an objective is extremely detrimental. Especially if we go Herald, because now we're losing a second drag, and that's a compounding effect where it's basically going from 1 times effective, where it's like a 3% buff, to 2 6% buff. So you're losing 4 times as much, like from just losing 1 to 2, and then you're losing like way more when you go to 3. You're losing like I don't know, some insane amount.
And then low elo, something I consider a problem there is it's like people aren't going to know necessarily that they just got a fat power spike right there, and then there's going to be these fights. Or
Also,
people are just going to start
smites people when you're fighting them.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm just gonna you need to keep thinking about that, so I'm just gonna keep pointing it out. And here, you just killed 3 people and someone's here. What you should do is look for any neutral / invade. So you should probably be going for his raptors, right, or his Krugs right now. Probably not red, because that's a bit scary. It's a bit too far. But you should be taking his Krugs if they're up, and then you should be going, because your camps are always up. His camps won't always be up, you know, so.
Yeah. I think I almost do the opposite here, where I think she actually kills me.
You know, if you stayed and you autoed one more time, and then you smited, you might have killed him. It would have been close, but if you smited, he would be slowed, so he might not kill your teammate, but then also you would get more damage, and you might be able to get an extra auto off, so.
But even more, I just need to like start considering that as the tool in the kit, right? Like at any given moment of smiting them at the beginning, whatever, like just knowing and being used to that being part of the tool.
Make a video most. Okay, we're back. So I'll share my screen again. I'm guessing you didn't lose that much time in the video. We'll figure out how much it is, but whatever time it is, I don't think we talked about anything crazy important, so you might lose something, but we have a good amount of time. So you see my screen again?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were we okay, I was gonna say to you, I don't know how much you flame teammates or how tilted you get, or if you blame people a lot. Like what do you think? Like, do you blame people a decent amount, or is it like a normal amount? Well, what do you think about that? I don't know.
It depends.
Oh, you're quiet again.
Oh, it depends on me, I would say. It's like I have been bad in the past so much, so I've been banned from chat.
I mean, I have too. I'm not saying this like I'm just saying this before I say whatever is next. Like, so you flame people sometimes, but you're not like an asshole completely. You just sometimes.
No, I've been an asshole completely, and even more so, I've let it bitch to the point where it's like it's let me like perform worse in games.
Yeah,
I've
I mean, that
thrown
happens to all
games.
of us. If you watched my stream 2 days ago, I was flaming the hell out of my team even when I was playing worse. I flame people more when I play bad than when I play good. But anyways, all I'm trying to say is I am telling you to play in a selfish way, to play for yourself and not care about your teammates. And this is going to make your teammates look worse than you. And it's going to make you feel like your teammates are the problem. Like, it just kind of does. Like, your KDA right now, for example, is 3-2-3, and you're ahead in gold than your team. Your teammates' KDAs suck, but you played this game horrible, you know, and that's not like flaming. I'm just,
No,
it
you're
was pretty
right.
bad.
It's true.
So
Like there's so much better I could have
that's
done
what
to
I'm
be ahead.
saying. Try to think if you're in a really bad mental state, it's not always possible. So I'm not saying you're going to do this 100% of the time. I don't. But if at least at the end of the day, after you're done with the game and you haven't played for like an hour or two or whatever, and you can like then be like, okay, yeah, no, I'm the reason we lost. It's not like
I
I
see
talk
what
a lot
you
about
mean. Like,
matchmaking
I
and
get
everything.
SVP here, right? And I can
Yeah.
easily just write it off. But are you
That's
trying to
why,
say that I could have done more to win, and I could have possibly won,
yeah.
basically, and I should
That's
not
why
just
I've
like write
argued
it
with
off. Like,
people a
oh,
lot
I
on
was
Twitter.
SVP, my team. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
why I've
helpful.
argued with people a lot on like Twitter about matchmaking because they always complain about it.
No, I agree with that to a
Yeah,
level. I would say.
but that's
I would say that
besides
it's
the point.
both.
But that's just, yeah, focusing on what
Yeah.
we can do, and when you're playing selfishly, it's gonna make your teammates look even worse. So you have to be playing that much better when you choose to play this way. And as Diana, we have to choose to play this way. So if you don't want to play this way and you want less responsibilities on you, then play support or play Wukong jungle or
Exactly.
something instead. So
But
we
that's
have
kind
to
of what
acknowledge
that's
that.
what I'm having fun with. I want it. That's sort of what I'm gonna play jungle because I'm
Yeah.
having a good time.
No, it's the
With that
same reason
new.
that I played Jace. Like, I am a bad carry player, and yet I spammed 500, 600 games of Jace just because I wanted to play that style because it was fun. And eventually now it's my best way to play the game. So like
Sneaks up.
it eventually will be fine if you play enough. But yeah, that's just an important thing to take note of, is it's going to sometimes feel worse and feel like you're carrying when in reality you might be playing slightly better than your teammates, but you're both probably playing bad, so it doesn't matter. And when a game is unwinnable and you feel like you played well, you should also have confidence to be like, yeah, I couldn't have done much. My team was bad. You don't need to get mad about it, but you can acknowledge that sometimes your team just sucked and you lose because of team. And we can smite here. Please, like, eventually smite someone.
I see that. But what I just need to do is just practice that as a.
Yeah, that can even be like when you go into the thing, you can have like a major thing and a minor thing to work on. Like your major thing, I'd say the first major thing you should do is your early game. You need to be focusing on farming. So work on your farming, but then whenever you go into a fight, just be like, yeah, just let me smite someone. And eventually that becomes a habit too. So you build 2 habits in one game. And then another important thing with the habits is choosing, like if you're building an early game habit, like the efficiency and farming thing, you can also focus on like a later game habit because you're not going to be focusing on that once you get to a certain point in the late game. So then you can be focusing on a different part of your game, you know? So just have only a couple things to work on that are not going to overlap in terms of what you have to think about in different parts of the game.
I hear you, and that's the way to practice these things. Okay.
Yeah. Like here, I don't really know why we're doing this. Their jungler is alive. Our top laner is not here, who is, again, our damage on it because it's our 80 carry. So we don't kill it very fast. We don't know where they are. They don't have vision, and they're kind of Plat, so maybe because they're Plat, it's actually not a bad idea.
I think we get it, but I see what you're saying. Like,
yeah,
you could easily have all this confidence, like, oh yeah, I stole that. I got that Baron for us, but it's like, that was only a factor of my elo.
and the thing is, okay, it's okay to play to your elo though. Like, you don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
play
I hear
to
that.
your elo, and
Like
at the
playing
same time,
Master Yi, for example, like that, it makes sense. I see that.
like, I wouldn't have done this, but thinking about it based on the situation we were in, that they had no vision and that they're Plat, it kind of makes sense to do in this elo as long as you're aware you shouldn't do it in every elo. But also, when you're behind in a game, it's okay to do these more risky things. Like, you're losing this game, your team is bad. So in this game, deciding, okay, I'm going to flip a Baron is fine. But if you're ahead and you're flipping a Baron, you're trolling. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
If you're behind, you can do these stupid things and just hope that they work because you're probably going to lose anyway. So if you get a Baron, then maybe you do win. So in hindsight, I guess because of elo and because of the fact that we're behind, it's kind of fine.
But I see that it's almost like I got a call. Oh, to keep getting away, and then that was just horrible.
I mean, I understand why you do that. I've done things like that, but when you go in again, this will be a thing once you improve on the more big things. eventually you'll go into a game and you'll be thinking, okay, now I need to think about enemy cooldowns because I keep dying because I get exhausted when I go into a fight because I didn't know they had exhaust, or I go into Tristana and she jumps away from me. So eventually you can be thinking about, again, once we improve on other things, working on your ability tracking in fights. Which ability do I need to worry about? Maybe I need to worry about Garen's silence in terms of going in, but I need to worry about Corki's dash in terms of like one-shotting him, and or Nautilus ultimate, or like, you know, those types of things. So
I remember thinking here about how much gold mastery he had above everyone else, and I was just like, I know he has 6 kills, but I just remember being like exasperated by that. Like, holy crap, he has 13,000. He has so much more gold than everybody in this way. And for that, I
yeah.
was just I mean, okay, it just, you think that was just, he just farmed he farmed like a diamond.
Well, but do you see how he farmed like this, and his KDA is still the same as yours? Basically, it's like you have 11 KP each, and you died the same amount. Like, even though he's farming a ton, he's still participating as much in the game as you are, and he's way ahead, so he's stronger for the late game. Like, you could be doing this. You could have probably more gold than him. I'm guessing if I'm playing this game, I'm ahead of him in gold. So yeah, like that's how higher elo players play. They farm and then they take convenient fights. They don't force these things so much, especially when, again, lower elos. But even in higher elos, most of the top junglers will just farm a ton. Like, if you, I don't know, there's this guy named Deagle. Like, I just think of him. Every game I play against him, I don't know, I never don't see this guy up like 10k gold on the entire game. Like, he literally has games where he has 10,000 more gold than anyone else in the entire game because he's playing a first strike champion and he's perma farming, and his KDA is still like 10-0. Like, it's not like he's giving up kills, he's just not taking stupid fights.
I hear what you're saying, though. It's like, a good player doesn't make bad plays work more often. That's not what makes a good player.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I struggled so much when I started playing jungle, even against players way worse than me, is that exact reason. I can't just magically make my champion deal more damage. That's not how it works. And we should be backing right now for our death cap. Again, second time in a row where you could have backed for death cap.
Yeah,
but instead we're just giving up our biggest power spike.
Coming here for this fight is just like, what am I even doing?
Also, small mechanical thing, your dash is deceptively far. At this point, you can't Q him, but you could have dashed on the Master Yi. Like, at this range, I'm pretty sure you can actually dash on him. It's a really crazy long range.
The dash is far. You're right. And I would kill him easy. He just
you could. He still dies, I think. If you smite him low key, does he die?
No, he doesn't.
Okay, he does end up dying. But again, that's why if we smite, say he lived on 1 HP, if you'd smite it, he wouldn't have lived on 1 HP. Just that needs to be a habit.
Like, constantly.
We lost. Group my ass. Damn.
Yeah, of course.
Are you all chatting? Who are you asking?
I think I all chatted. Just
you
like
can't all chat though. They removed all chat.
Oh, I see that. I guess I just more like just to feed my team a question where they're not just like telling each other to fuck off.
Yeah, that's funny.
Troll pick. You shouldn't talk like. Lucian mid is not a troll pick. You platinum.
Lucian mid is my second most played mid besides Chase. I played a lot.
Hey, he's got the High Noon skin. Like, what can you say?
High Noon is a fire skin.
For sure. Thank you so much for the lesson, Talon. I actually have to go here.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'll write some basic notes to remember and I'll DM you them. So see you later.
Really appreciate it.
And I'll upload it to YouTube within probably a couple of days. So
yeah, whenever, honestly. And excited to see you on the stream in the future. Thank you so much.
See you later.
Peace out.